There is no reaction. So that is the way of an arahant and a Buddha. There is no reaction. So that they have no unpleasant moments, they have no pleasant moments, they are not bored at any moment. They are just very fresh people who live with the sense impression for the purpose only. Not they don't go beyond that. So, Dhamma friends, that's what we want to be. Let us now conclude our discussion. I don't think I will take time to even summarize. Uh, let's hand over it to Kolita for proceedings. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Kosala Silva. As always, I have found your talks to be such a delight to listen to, not only for the depth of the knowledge, but also the clarity of presentation. So I'm sure there must be a lot of questions or comments from the audience. So we shall open this forum for that purpose now. You can unmute and raise your questions or make even some comments on this talk to get things clarified.
Kolita, whether our Venerable Sir has anything to
Venerable
correct me if
Ananda
I have gone
Mathur, are you
wrong.
there? Would you like to make some comments on this talk? Can't see him in the picture.
I think now I am
I
unmuted.
can see you now. Would you like to make any comments, Venerable Sir?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Manoli?
Kosala, since there is time,
Yeah.
is it asking too much for Kosala to summarize maybe in about 5-10 minutes even? Is it too much to ask from Kosala? Are you tired?
Manori, I think it's actually a summary which I gave. So
Let me ask you a question, Kosala. Now, this issue of, you said all these sense impressions, these are happening as a phenomenon, and there's no me or I or somebody who is doing all this. Now, how can you really come to that conclusion? How can somebody realize that when you get a sense impression, that it is not me who is doing that? Say, for instance, if I look at object, there's some visual input coming into me, and I recognize it. It's I who recognize it. I see a flower, I recognize it. It's not somebody else. So there is a huge paradox here, but the reality, as you quite rightly pointed out, is not that I am seeing it, but how can you come to terms with that? That it is not me, that it is just a phenomenon that is happening.
I think Kolita, what you now even in my case, I see.
Yeah.
That is my problem also is that. The thing is, now that is why Buddha brought forward the Satipatthana meditation. Unless, now you have to have the knowledge. Now through your Suttamaya Jnana, we have to know what Buddha has said. So with Saddha and with confidence, we have to proceed. Then through Chintamaya Jnana, you have to analyze the things like, what I said, how the things, the causative factors get together to form it, the Paticca Samuppanna nature. And such reflection, those are little reflections. Those are also not actually.
So you can't be seen, you can be heard. Now I can see it.
Yeah. Those are not little, those are only little reflections that we make because the truth is far away. To achieve the truth, we have to go a long way. But we can just try to reflect on these things like factors getting together and forming this. Now, I told you right at the beginning, even if you want to stop it, if you focus your eye on something, you will see it.
Hmm.
So where are you now? You want to stop it.
When there's issue, now say at any one moment, now say at this point of time, I'm conscious and I'm awake, and all my 6 sense faculties are in operation, right? Now, at this moment, I can only see you, even though I'm getting some sensory inputs from, say, my contact of my gluteal region with the seat. Okay, so the sense inputs are there, but we are not aware of it unless we draw our attention to that sensation.
Yes.
So does it mean then that it is the mind which starts everything rather
Yeah,
than
that is
they
the
are
thing.
used to, as scientists, we think object, sense organ, then the sensory pathway, the brain gets activated. But if you start looking at things in a reverse direction, where the
Yes.
mind starts it, when I draw my attention, when I bring my mind to the contact, then I become aware of it. Even
Yeah,
though the
if I
contact was there all the time.
if I
Similarly,
give
there are
a
many sounds, and unless I bring my attention, the mind to the sound, I may not become aware of it. What
yeah
are
now
your views on this?
yeah, that's right. It's a very good point that you raised. Now, even that, now you say, now I want to see that, I want to hear that. Now that is the attention you bring. Now there is a I who wants to hear that. Now you were seeing, you were looking at me, but now you want to focus on what you hear, right? So you want to hear now. Now that means you are a person who is focusing. But what exactly happened was, in your inner world, the mind perceived the message, right? Mind perceived the message by default for you to asking you to see that, hear that. So it's again within the mind also, it's the conditions, it's conditions getting together to have the request. So the request is also made by inner perception within the mind. That is why the mind door is there. So mind door perceives the message and he orders he orders the ear to listen. So it's again a kind of factors getting together to produce, have the product, the result. Now this we will not understand. We can reflect like this. It's very good to reflect. We can have our knowledge, we can apply that knowledge here, but still we can't understand it until we go through, this is according to Buddha, until we fully understand the concept. That is, until we see the reality and the truth by Vidarshana meditation, where you see the moment to moment occurrences in our body and the mind. So until such time, there is no way. That is why I told you I am helpless in explaining. I go on the Buddha's word and from the suttas. Until we see it, quality, it's very difficult for us to, give an explanation.
It's a realization,
Yeah,
really.
and realization is important.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anybody? Nobody's asking questions. So can I ask you, Kosala, from where do thoughts come to the mind? All the time now. So even if you're not taking inputs from the 5 physical sense bases, still thoughts come to us from the mind itself. So now all these thoughts that come to the mind, is it really dependent on our past experiences and the memory related to that?
Yeah, that is what it is. Those are the experiences that, experience may not come as that experience per se, but experience also can, fabricate experiences we have actually not experienced.
Okay.
But all are dependent on past experiences and our mind's kind of constructions of future thoughts, which can also trouble you by perceiving thoughts within. So it has to be the memory, it has to be the past experiences, and the constructed thoughts of yours occurring to your own mind, deceiving you.
So that is another nutriment, isn't it? Passa was one nutriment, as Kosala said, which is nourishing this process. Am I right, Kosala? So this, what Kolita now brought in, how the mind then starts generating thoughts, building, that is the next nutriment.
Yeah,
Of the
actually speaking,
Passahara, the next one, isn't it?
yeah, actually speaking, those thoughts are made by another
Manosanchetana.
construction mechanism in the mind. That is not the scientific one, but the vijnana and the sankhara together get together. Mano sanchetanika ahara and the vijnana ahara get together to produce those thoughts that you get into the mind. But ultimately, it's a passa to the mind. When you receive the thing, it's a passa. The mind is receiving a thought. That bit is passa. But the thought which comes to your mind is a constructed thought. So until you do the vijnanahara and the mano sanchetanikahara, at this point, it's difficult for you to fathom the way.
Now this Passahara, the Buddha says, doesn't, you know, they are
Yes.
pleasant, unpleasant, and neither pleasant nor unpleasant. But he also says it's something, doesn't it, a simile of a skinless cow?
Flayed
sense-
cow. Flayed cow.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can you
now-
explain that?
Yeah,
please?
in that simile, what he says is, now when a cow is stripped of the cow's skin from neck to hooves,
Mm.
completely stripped. Now that one will go and rest on certain things. That resting is like the contact. Your eye contacting an object is similar, Buddha says, to that cow resting on something. He will always get pain. The cow will always get pain because he is bombarded with painful stimuli. Even though when our eye contacts the visual objects, that we don't feel them as always unpleasant, it is always dukkha, Buddha says. Either pleasant or unpleasant or neither pleasant, no unpleasant, all those will always cause suffering, Buddha says. So the cow's contact with the flow or grass or whatever, as it is painful, your eye contact, nose contact, tongue contact, ear contact, body contact, mind contact, all that will give you suffering. That's what Buddha says. So that is why the simile is what. So he is asking the monks to contemplate that way when a sense impression occurs to you. This is like that cow. I am getting a stimulus, like the cow got a painful stimulus. And just skip it and get away. That is seal actually. That is actually the first level. So without our practicing the first level, it's so very difficult to go to the third level, but you have to go. Simultaneously, you can do it. But practicing the first level day to day is very important.
It is eventually only on the third level that you can liberate, is it?
That's exactly.
Eventually it has to
Exactly that.
progress.
Now, when Malunke Putta and Bahyadharati are liberated, through that version, to that version, when seeing in the seeing, only that. To that version, the Valunke and the Bahiyadaru period really rose to the third level because they were so very intelligent and practiced. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Okay. There don't seem to be any questions in the chats either. So, Professor Malori, you want to make any announcements? Any announcements to be made before we can wrap up?
Next week, the speaker is Bhante Shravasti Dhammika from Australia. I think those of you who have heard him, he's a prolific writer and he's an excellent speaker as well. His topic is some thoughts on meditation. Yes, he's no stranger to us. It will be really very interesting. Always his talks are very thought